All right, everyone, we are here with a special guest. We are joined by Corbin Bleu. The new season of High School Musical, the series, comes out July 27th, and Corbin is in the new series, the season. So we're very excited. We are big fans of High School Musical, the series, and High School Musical, and so we are very excited to have you here today.
Thank you. It's great to be here today, and I can't believe it's finally coming out. I'm excited.
We're so excited. The show is great. You are great, and I love the concept. We always said they did the reboot, whatever you want to call it, so well because it pulls from the original, but it is so unique in its own story. But you are joining it in kind of like a meta sort of way. You are Corbin Bleu playing Corbin Bleu.
And so well said, by the way. I completely agree. I remember when the announcement that the new season, that the new series was coming out. Of course, as part of the original, I'm going, okay, please, you guys, don't screw it up. Don't mess with a good thing.
Yep.
And they could not have done it more perfectly.
It's like the cast of Jersey Shore getting upset about the reboot of Jersey Shore.
They're so good. There's the new cast is so insanely talented, so good. And Tim Federle, the show's creator, I felt like he's obviously a fan of the original, but he's also such a musical theater head, and he understands that world so well, and it shines through so wonderfully in the show. So yeah, I get to come back, and because it takes place in the real world, I actually got to talk with Tim prior to say, how are we going to do this? How am I coming? Am I coming as Chad in like a dream sequence, or am I playing somebody completely different, just like a fun wink cameo? And we decided, no, let's have me come back as me, and even that, what does that look like? And it basically, if the Corbin had of the High School Musical universe had a different take on his feelings toward the High School Musical movies and the industry in general and what that would have done to him, that's kind of where this Corbin is. He's a little bit jaded.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's very exciting because, like she said, we were big fans of High School Musical. Like, that was just my childhood growing up. Like,
we were just talking about her first concert she ever went to
was High School Musical.
No way.
I swear. And like my life revolved around High School Musical. So then when they announced this show, we were obviously as fans nervous, like, how's this gonna go? And we were obsessed. Like, I remember watching the first season being like, wow, we did not expect to like it this much, but like, this is really
we're a little bit older than maybe their demo is.
Yeah, but we were writing like the demo for High School Musical like when it came out. So I think that's why they have younger fans and older fans, because you're getting the best of both worlds.
And that's exactly it. I feel like the original fans of the movies appreciate what they're doing, and especially that I am coming in. We have a lot of like fun like winks and a lot and Jason Earls, who I've known for years prior to High School Musical, because I did the pilot of Hannah Montana with him, and I've known him for forever. He also, so not only is he in the season, but he's not playing Jason Earls.
Right.
He's playing a different character, he's playing Dewey Wood. So we have a lot of fun, cheeky moments where I am talking about my time working with Jason Earls.
Yeah. Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah.
I love when shows do that, because you're just like, that's like when Ashley Tisdale was on Sweet Life and High School Musical, and then they would mention she would mention Sharpay.
Yes.
It was like a whole thing. But
exactly.
And the grown-up version, they do that in Entourage all the time.
Yes. I have a question about when you were starting off in Disney, right? You were in the pilot of Hannah Montana.
Right.
So what I've noticed, or what I did notice when I was younger, is that if somebody was going to be in a new movie or a new TV show, they were in an episode of a different TV show. Like, I really picked up on that. Like, so did you kind of have a feeling that you were going to be a part of High School Musical because you were on Hannah Montana?
Well, I think you're partly right there, and I think where that comes from is just casting at Disney, which Judy Taylor, who has been the head of casting at Disney Channel for forever, and she recently retired, which is
Wow.
So sad, but so amazing and so incredible for her. So she cast me in Hannah Montana. And obviously because she knew me from that, she wanted to bring me in for High School Musical. So I think that's probably what happens is whenever you do a guest spot on one of those television shows, when they get to know you, they go, oh, well, maybe this. And then it just sort of snowballs in that way.
Yeah, I feel like because I remember Ant Farm when that was coming out. This is like a throwback, but I auditioned for that show, and it had not been announced yet. Like nobody knew Ant Farm was coming. But then I remember China Ann McClain was on Hannah Montana, and I was like, she got the part. I was like, and so they're putting her on Hannah Montana but nobody had heard about the show yet because it wasn't announced. But that's funny how that works.
Yeah. They have their inner circle. I feel like they keep everybody close. But I mean, how was playing yourself? I feel like has to be more difficult than playing a character, or was it you were playing Corbin Bleu, the character?
It's so much fun.
So fun.
It's so much fun to play yourself, especially because I got to really make fun of myself and be like really like kind of a little assholey version of myself. Who over the course of the season we get to see what the kids do to him and how they melt his heart in a way, and
they break him in.
And they break him in. They remind him of what theater and what the original High School Musical movies actually mean to him.
Yeah. So you mentioned how the character Corbin Bleu is different and feels different about High School Musical than you do in real life.
Correct.
And I think we see that a lot with people who had like something like High School Musical is so big, so grand. People know you from that, and it can go either way. It could be like people kind of maybe resent it in a way, and they're trying to go in a different path and have people forget that, and they want to do something new. What was your take on the experience afterwards?
I mean, it's a completely natural thing. It makes sense, and I had my own version of that too. You know, where you want to distance yourself for the sake of playing other roles, for the sake of have people seeing you differently, having longevity. But enough time has passed where being on this show actually gave me it completely reinvigorated my love for the High School Musical franchise, where I went back and watched some of the numbers that I haven't seen in years, and I watched it as a viewer, not as a person who was a part of them, but truly just a completely separate viewer. And I was like, these are so good.
Yeah, they're still
I was
so
like,
good.
these are so good. It does feel vintage in a way. Like there are parts I'm like, even like clothing, I'm like, wow, this actually feels like old now.
Yeah.
But
we still remember the T-shirt contest when you would have to like vote for what T-shirt
I was gonna wear. Oh my! Whoa, that's so cool. That's so cool.
I forgot.
Yeah, we were actually talking about that recently.
Wow, no, that was such a fun party because I got to actually be a part of creating all those T-shirts. But yeah, I did, yes, in my own way have a distance from it, but I always appreciated it. I mean, I've never not loved the fact that that's where I came from.
Yeah, and now you get to see this younger generation of these kids that are on this cast are so incredibly talented.
Yes,
they really are.
What was it like working with all of them? Because you watch the first season, and when they do, all of them do get their moments, you're blown away.
Yes.
Like, it's crazy. So what was it like kind of seeing inside the minds of those kids?
Well, I don't know about the minds, but the bodies, they're all so tall.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I don't know why our original cast.
Were like, we were way shorter.
We were all short, I guess. But so that's one thing. I'm like, why are you guys all so tall? Will put me on an apple box, please? But no, they are so talented, and they're like that all the time. I mean, they really are. They constantly pull out their instruments, and they're just always singing, or they're dancing,
breaking out in song.
Yeah, breaking out in song, and it's true. I mean, that's like musical theater heads anywhere. It's, you're always gonna. You can't get away from it.
And you have a big musical theater background.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I'm originally from New York. I grew up in Brooklyn. I've been in LA for a long time now. But I worked off Broadway when I was 6, and I always grew up doing musicals. And High School Musical was the perfect project for me, just because I did get to put it all together. But coming back to this now, like it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's hard to find a project that really embodies every aspect of it. And these kids do, and I know I keep saying kids, they're all in their 20s.
Yeah, I know.
But compared to us.
Musical, and I've always been such a big fan from the outside. I have no singing ability whatsoever, but watching musical theater and like seeing that, I always like, oh, it would have been so fun to be a part of that. Watching from the we just had Sarah Hyland in the studio, and she was talking about she was just on her Bachelorette, and Vanessa Hudgens was with her in the Bachelorette, and they were like, oh, we were just performing full-blown musicals every night. Like, that's just kind of how they were spending their time. I'm like, yep, I just, if only you could sing.
Wish I had that talent.
Yeah. But you don't have, I mean, it's, so my wife, who is not a trained singer, I think she has a lovely voice.
Yeah, it's very nice of you.
I think she has a lovely voice. She really does. But she says it all the time. She's like, I would have loved to like do music. I just don't sing. But the other, like, not too long ago, we had just had a karaoke night at Lucas Grable's house, and we were all just, I mean, singing show tunes and like, I mean,
so intimidating.
Belting out. But that was the whole thing. Is it was one of the most fun nights because we weren't trying to like, it was just for fun, and that's what one of the best parts of it is. It's just just get to enjoy it, and I feel like this cast, I feel like that's how they are also. They're always creating, they're always just enjoying the performance aspect of it.
Now, I looked back on your Instagram, and you had surprised this cast back in like 2019 when the show was first starting. Did you have any idea you were going to be a part of it in any way when you did that?
I didn't. I mean, I didn't know where it was going to go. Right. I had seen the first few episodes and was just so relieved and so happy to see where it was going. And then over the course of the years, I've just been like, I mean, if the right time and the right circumstance that comes along, and Tim Federle had approached and said this is it, and I mean, we did it right. Yeah. He did it right. They did it right.
Yeah.
And we asked your reaction to the kids. What were their reaction to you? Because obviously they had to have been fans.
Very true.
I think they play it really cool.
Yeah.
I think they're like, if they are, it's funny because they'll tell me that people around will tell me like they're really freaking out right now. I'm like, I can't tell. I wouldn't know.
Good actors.
They really are
professionals.
Yep.
No, truly, and I feel like they welcomed me into the cast in a way that was. Because I know I like they I am like one of the OGs and but I don't feel that way. I feel like I'm just a part of them. I feel like they're they're peer.
Yeah.
Which is really great. There are times where like they'll ask for advice or I feel like in a moment I feel like I can be the older wise guy and like
right.
But most of the time I'm sitting there in awe.
It's so different now because I feel like with social media and everything, can you imagine what it would have been like for you guys if that all existed at the time that High School Musical was coming out?
Twitter had just begun.
Yes.
Just begun. And I remember we kept being told, you guys got to do this thing. It's like, you can talk to fans here.
Yeah.
And to this day, like, I'm not, I don't go on social media. I mean, I post, but I'm not like scrolling through.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine.
Facebook existed, but it was not like
that's
especially with just like going out and doing things and like because everyone was so obsessed with the cast in general and like interrelationships and all that. Like I can't even imagine.
And they are with the new cast.
But
also
why I feel even more so why this cast is so insanely talented. Not only do they from a craft standpoint are they so wonderful and it's also so kind and great to work with, but they are all on social media constantly. That's a whole other part of your life that they are.
It's a whole other job.
Working constantly. I think if anything, I also would try to just be like, live in the moment, enjoy this moment right now. It's also never guaranteed.
Do you feel like you guys would have gotten in some more trouble? being on Disney?
Probably. We were all really good. I mean, you obviously we had things here and there that occurred that it's normal, it's natural, it makes sense. But for the most part, nobody completely went off the deep end.
How old were you when the first High School Musical came out?
The first one, I was 15.
Oh my
That's
God.
crazy. So like you're growing up.
When I shot it, I was 15.
Yeah.
I think it was 16
Because
when it premiered.
I think it kind of flies under the radar that I feel like you were one of the younger.
I am the youngest.
You are the youngest one from that
out of
cast.
The 6.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest.
And that's like the prime age that you like start going to parties,
Yeah.
drinking, experimenting. Like, it's just like, but you're growing, like you're going to high school on camera, but then also like real life.
And that's where, and also being, a part of Disney and also under that radar, and you have that want to be a role model or that pressure of being a role model. And also, it is that time where you're figuring it out, and you got to make those mistakes. So you're not later on in life going, I feel like I missed out on life.
Yeah.
Which again, I feel like it's good that we didn't have too much social media at that time. There was a chance for us to still have our own lives in a way. But it wasn't until later on in life that I also realized, I was like, you know what, that part of me that always feels like I'm such a people pleaser. I always have to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
Like, chillax.
Yeah.
Relinquish that.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so much anxiety today because of social media, because it is that same aspect of there's so much comparison. It's easy to every single day, and then you also every time you go on, every time you want to look, you feel like everybody's doing something good, because of course they're only posting the good stuff.
Also so easy to compare when things are just right in front of you. Right?
Yes.
Like it's like everything's next to each other. So of course, like back to back, you're going to be, it's nuts. I can't even imagine, especially these kids in this show that are like, people are so obsessed with them and their relationships.
But what I will say is also today, you find that the topic of mental health is so much more prevalent, and all of them are very conscious of it. I mean, I feel like they practice their they meditate, they go see therapists, and it's okay.
And you're like, we didn't do this.
No, it was because there was something wrong with you. If you went to see a therapist, that means there's something wrong with you.
Right, and now it's becoming so normalized,
it's which is wonderful. That's how it should be. And so as just as much as the anxiety is hyped up, I think that also the importance of what can you do to curb that is just as
the awareness. It's like a give and take.
Yeah.
The internet is both. It's like a gift and a curse.
Yep. Absolutely.
Since we're talking about social media, I know all the OG fans saw Vanessa post outside of East High a few weeks ago. We saw Zach post outside of East High last week. A lot of fans jumped to the conclusions that maybe there was something going on.
Where's your post?
You would know if there was.
Would I?
I think you would.
We would hope.
If we called them the OGs, if the OGs were getting back together, that's you.
It's funny. I just found out about this not too long ago, because I told you I don't actually go on and scroll myself. But I actually haven't been back to East High in a minute, but I have been to Lava Springs.
Okay.
And I did go and visit my wife, and I did a road trip from New York to LA, and we stopped in Utah on the way, and we actually went and stayed there again.
Yeah.
Did they treat you?
Cool. Yes, they did.
That's amazing.
Yes,
I would
they
hope.
Did. Yes, they did.
amazing.
Very much so. But I mean, as far as like a reunion or something like that, I that's who knows, but
would you do it?
You said who knows, so that like you can't say something like that, because I think that if it wasn't happening, you'd be like, no. You know what I mean?
You make a good point.
We're reading into it a little bit.
We would all love. Yeah, look, that's what everybody loves, and everybody lives off that nostalgia. And
two great things. One, the series exists.
Yes,
and has been picked up for a fourth. So there's that opportunity there.
Could Corbin Bleu, the character, come back?
I would love to.
Yeah.
Two, we're not too far from 20 years from our 20-year anniversary.
That is wild.
Yeah, I know.
That is really
something to think about.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's actually really insane.
Yeah.
You really think about it, that's actually insane.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Yeah. Oh man. But I mean, we have so enjoyed watching and enjoying the show and the movies, and you know, the musical theater aspect is so great. And you've been on a bunch of other TV shows and whatnot that have been so enjoyable, but the last one that I watched that I really loved was Dirty Dancing. It was great.
Thank you.
Thought it was so fun.
Appreciate that.
You crushed it, obviously, winner.
I had
and
a great
you took
partner.
out Tyler Cameron, who was one of our good friends.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Were
Cool.
you-
He's awesome. by
Were
the
you
way.
surprised with his dancing skills?
I was surprised with
'Cause
his
I
dancing
was.
skills. But here's the thing, like he's got that Swayze swag.
Right.
Like he's again extremely tall.
Yeah, he's very tall. Yes.
extremely tall.
Tall man.
And built and good looking, and he's just got he's got that like Patrick Swayze vibe. And then he can move.
Yeah.
He can also move. So that's why I was like, all right.
But
It's
still
on.
not as good
It's
as
on.
you.
It's on.
Yeah, he
It's
didn't
on.
win.
He did not
He
win.
lost.
Yeah. But how was filming that show? That it really did seem like a fun environment.
So cool.
Yeah.
So also like great cast.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
really good.
Really heavy hitters. I mean, such popular fame, like these people who with these very strong backgrounds, and all so nice. Like it was such a great group. We're all still on a text thread.
Oh, that's
together.
I love that.
Like, and it's been
like a
over
year, right? Yeah.
and we still are all like
That's
texting
so
with each other.
fun.
Yeah, it's such a great group, and then to be to actually get to do these iconic dances that I grew up watching.
Yeah.
To get to do that lift, with Kat Cora,
Yeah.
who I was a fan of before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
And I also see you do a lot with Monique Coleman, who obviously everyone
Amazing.
loves to see you guys doing stuff together just because it brings back all those feelings.
Yeah.
Mo and I have chemistry that is so easy to tap into. I mean, she's like my sister. But two, I know that we play so well romantically on screen together, and I think it just comes with history, and it also just comes with energy. Like we have always been really
And feeling
close
comfortable.
and comfortable. Yeah, and it's something. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to witness. Because we did our Lifetime movie together, and that was our first time back on screen together in like over 15 years, and the reception of how much people loved it and loved seeing us on screen together, and talking about exactly that, the chemistry. You look at different on-screen couples that always work together. They do movie after movie after movie.
Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston.
Absolutely, yeah. And
Matthew McConaughey and Kate
Kate
Hudson.
Hudson.
there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's Leo and Kate Blanchett.
Yes.
Yes.
I feel and oh, by the way, also every name that we've named, you don't see a lot of people of color that have that same dynamic, that you see them constantly going back and having that sort of a fan base, or at least that connection to the people who watch it. So it's something that we have seen that we want to tap more into it, and we just love working together. It's so fun, and you don't
That's
have,
so great
and
to
you,
hear.
You know, you don't
It
have,
is.
and you don't have to go into that whole. Is when you work on screen with anyone, you have to try to, all right, let's get to know each other, let's find out our boundaries, let's figure out what's comfortable, and like none of that.
Yeah, with you guys, it just
None of that.
goes.
Yeah.
When you're recognized on the street or wherever, what do people say to you?
It varies. A lot of times it is, High School Musical was my childhood.
Yeah.
Do they call you Chad or do they call you
They call me Corbin.
Okay.
Yeah, they call me
I just
Corbin,
wanna- I
which
wanna make
is
sure.
No, they call me Corbin. But my favorite encounters are people who've seen me on stage. Those are always my favorite, because whatever show they happen to see, whatever night they happen to see, they usually have a story about maybe something that could have gone differently that night, and no one else has that experience.
I live in New York, and I'm from here, and so we don't get to LA so often, but when you guys did Hairspray,
Yeah.
and
We're big
I'm
Hairspray
like
fans.
in that perfect age demo of High School Musical, Jonas Brothers, Demi, Selena, Miley, all of them. So Nick was like, and is.
Oh yeah.
Like my guy. And so when that was announced, I was like, oh my God, how do I get to the Hollywood Bowl? And it's just, I was that young enough where it was like, that it's just not going to happen. But seeing that was so cool. Hairspray is one of my absolute favorites.
And we got to do it with Marissa Jarrett Whittaker and Harvey Fierstein.
Yeah.
Like
incredible.
From the original cast too. It was a great cast. That was such a great cast. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite show that you did? Without hurting other people's feelings.
No, not at all. I would have to say it's a toss-up. I have to say Heights.
I was going to say, my guess was going to be In the Heights.
Just because it was my Broadway debut. Yeah. So the feeling behind that in itself, and also it's just such a cool show. Such a cool show. But also, I did Singing in the Rain at the Muni in St. Louis, and I feel like I was made for that show. Yeah. Like when I felt so at home doing that show, and I love everything about it.
You could feel it.
I love the music. I love the story. I love the numbers. I mean, everything about that show I love. And I actually just got back from the Muni. I just said I did Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah, which was so cool. And I played Bert, not a character that I ever thought I would play.
Right.
And it was so much fun. But yeah, I mean, I've really been like blessed in my career as far as stage though, to have always done some great shows and always working with great people.
Yeah,
really, really, really great people.
Are there any plans coming up now to be back on stage?
Well, so I told you we had a fun karaoke night with Lucas.
Yeah.
And he came and saw me in Mary Poppins.
Okay.
And him and I have been talking about
wheels are turning on something.
Yeah, he wants to get back on stage.
Okay.
And I'm like, dude, we should. So we've been talking about a couple of ideas. I don't want to give anything away, but we've been talking about a couple of ideas of stuff that we could do together.
That's really cool.
Stage,
People would love that.
That would be
That's
amazing.
awesome.
But we're so excited to watch Corbin Bleu play Corbin Bleu in High School Musical, the series, out July 27th, the third season. We will be tuning in. Our listeners will be tuning in. We can't wait to see the whole season and how it plays out. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. This was awesome, truly.